Welcome back to the Stockwell Eldridge Show. Jason Stockwell with Remax Results.
And I'm Dawn Eldridge with Remax Results.
And we have Bella here, who's Isabella D'Angelo. Or D'Angelo, how do you say the last name?
D'Angelo.
You already missed the Italian thing. Isabella D'Angelo.
Yes. And Don Doty with...
Donna Doty.
Yeah.
I like that.
That was good, Dawn.
That was good.
Stefania Havel with
That's
Wells Fargo
all right,
Home
Dawn.
Mortgage. Yeah.
So since we have Bella here, and you prefer Bella, right? Just go by
Sure.
Bella or Isabella? Yeah.
It
Sure.
depends
Since
on if
we
you're
have her
talking
here,
about the granite or the show.
Had
right?
a show, or she has a show here on the Patriot. She's leans right, and there was a debate recently. What did everybody take? What was everybody's take on it?
Well, Jason, I was out
Because you
showing
guys are clearly
buyers.
you're more involved in politics, or more passionate involved in politics. So I'd like to hear your take on it. I actually was at a listing appointment,
And I was showing
so I didn't
our
catch it
buyers,
till
so
the very end.
I didn't get to see it at all.
So what's your how did everybody perform, and what do you think? Because I know there's deep concerns on the Democrats about a Trump presidency, and there's deep concerns from the Republicans about a Hillary presidency. They both have major flaws that you could probably bullet point on both of them from both sides.
Sure.
Depending upon how you're looking at
Sure.
it. But what's your take overall?
Well, this is by far the craziest. We're seeing and hearing things that we never thought ever. The biggest thing, and what Donald Trump, what this is all about, is us against establishment. And when Donald ran, of course, he was never supposed to get to where he was at. He has said things that on a daily basis he was supposed to be done and over with. After the first debate, I personally was frustrated in the performance. I wanted to get to the issues. That's what frustrates all of us about politics is it's politics as usual, but we've got to get to the issues. And we're at a really catastrophic point in this country that this is the most important election. And whether you love Donald for who he is, or you sit back and cringe and get caught up in what the mainstream media is trying to get you to sway on things that are said and the political part, look at what he's bringing to the table as far as the issues and the solutions. And that's what was really focused on last night in the debate. It's very clear as far as international borders, security, jobs, economical. If you want your taxes to go through the ceiling, if you want open borders, and if you want no international presence, that's what Hillary stands for. Trump is also putting really good people around him. The biggest thing is Donald Trump came forward as a voice for so many of us that have never been heard. We're fed up in this country. We're fed up with, and I said this the other day to one of my friends, I don't know that I'll vote again if Trump doesn't get in, because any politician we've ever voted for, they go in and they jump into the country club and they're one big establishment. All of them are against us.
And there's what I agree with that part, especially because not you could say against us, but when lawmakers make laws and they exclude themselves from the laws that they're putting on the citizens,
Yes.
why is that even how is that even allowed? Like, why would that even be allowed, that they could put all these exclusions on themselves that any other normal citizen would be punished for, or anything, or
It's called the establishment. They can get away with whatever they want to. And that's why the mainstream media is fighting so hard to convince us. I listened to Rush Limbaugh, and this is what gave me some optimism the other day. You look at when Trump came on, and he comes out of nowhere, and he's smashing records, and he's getting these amazing, these rallies with 20, 30,000 people showing up, right? And it's a sensation. It's a revolution, as Donald keeps talking about. Then all of a sudden, he wins the GOP nomination. Now we're getting closer. We've got the last debate that has happened. Now the mainstream media wants us to believe that because of one video or one tape that was released over 11 years ago, when Donald Trump he's not been running for politics for his whole life.
He
like
owned
Hillary.
a beauty pageant company, didn't he? So you're going to be,
Miss Universe.
Yes, and he had The Apprentice. I mean, he was in the private sector.
It's not excusable comment.
I'm not excusing the comment. What I'm saying, though, is that, if you're going to make us believe that those of us that are believing in him are all of a sudden falling away from him because of what the mainstream media would like us to think of him now, no, the supporters are still there. It's the mainstream media.
I think it was Chris
Matthews.
Matthews the other, maybe it was a previous debate, talked about, I think he was talking with Rudy Giuliani or something like that, and they said, look at all the past presidents that have done, Abe Lincoln, Martin Luther
They
King
all
Jr.,
have.
JFK. I mean, they're all not necessarily choir boy or priest going through.
I don't think, you know what? I don't think any of us are. I was asked this question.
Yeah.
I was asked this question by my boss, actually, if I would ever run. I said, I've been asked if I would run. If you listen to my show, if you look at a lot of decisions that I've made, that's why a lot of people don't try to run for office. But you know what? God bless Donald Trump. I think that he looked at his grandkids and he said, you know what? If I don't do this, who will? And he's got the money. He's been self-funded. He's not bought by Wall Street and the big corporations. And look at the people he's putting around him.
Yeah, and the biggest frustration that you have with him is the communication style is not... It's a communication style that a very small percentage gets and doesn't get bent out of shape about. He just doesn't like. We had Melissa DeLay on, who is a expert in communication and delivery and how you use words and what words you use and all these things, and that's what politicians usually do.
And that's why
he doesn't do that, which it rubs everybody, a lot of people the really wrong way.
Like with the foreign affairs and dealing with all these foreign leaders. I mean, is he, respected? There's so much. What were they saying today? Like, there's so much that he's not educated about, and that's where the concern is coming from, because there's so many things that.
And then the flip side,
he just
that's
has
good
no
because
education
he's not,
or experience
on the flip side, that could be good because he's not already tied in with all the things. It'll be a major revolution, a major shakeup. Probably the biggest upset, the biggest thing in the recent modern history of politics. If Trump were to actually win, it's looking like he's just going to be a total loss, though, unfortunately. But maybe that's
what the mainstream media is trying to get you. And here's what I was listening to earlier. I was listening to Rush, and he said, you know what? If Hillary Clinton hadn't been married to Bill Clinton, and you ran on just her record and all the things that she's done, she is not only not qualified, but it just, and I know we don't want to go down this road, but I mean, I always ask people, what has she actually accomplished?
Yeah.
I mean, it's...
I have a client who's very left-leaning and just cannot stand Donald Trump and has really good rationale for Hillary Clinton. I have a client who doesn't love Trump but wants Trump to win because he doesn't want Hillary in and he thinks Trump is a lot better. But he said the reason that Hillary Clinton is even running, even has a chance to run, and he blames it on himself and all of the voters that voted for Ross Perot and pulled the election away from Bush Sr. and gave Bill Clinton the opportunity to win, because Bill Clinton would not have won had it not been for Ross Perot, or at least people following and voting for Ross Perot. So he blames himself for now, going back that many years back, causes what's going on right now. And he said it's our own fault. We got Hillary potentially because of our own doing. It's very interesting. Never heard that before.
I haven't heard that either.
But it makes sense because he took Ross Perot had a good chunk, and he was a very libertarian type and all that, and got a good chunk of the vote. And actually, that was probably the main reason why Bush Sr. lost to Bill Clinton back in the.
Well, everything happens for a reason, as I always say, and this country had to get into a position where it got to wake people up. And this country has really woken up, and there's a lot of fed up people, and that's why there's a lot of support behind Donald Trump. It'll be interesting.
It'll be interesting. Very, very interesting.
He's gonna win. He'll win.
Really?
Yep.
Man, it's so tough that I don't want to get too emotionally invested in anything because it ends up causing problems. And that's what the media wants you to do, is get emotionally. That's why they don't talk a lot about the issues, is what you said,
right?
As well, as because they don't want to. They want to get you emotionally hating someone. If you don't emotionally like someone emotionally on their character, then you can't vote for them.
Well, it's
but you don't look at the issues.
True, that whole thing, with 11 years ago, that reporter from the NBC,
Billy Bush, the nephew of George W. By the way, Billy Bush is the nephew of George W.
I'm kind of sick about that. I think it's 11 years ago he made a comment. He just moved his whole family from California
and Billy
to New York.
Bush was working for Access Hollywood, took a promotion, and now got canned.
I know.
He
moved his family across the country from California to
bad.
New York for that.
But
careful what you say.
Check us out on podcast on YouTube, Stockwell Eldritch Show. Remember, love yourself and love others. Have a great week, and we'll have to have Bella back.
There's always something happening, and it's usually quiet.